Well, hey there. I just stopped back at Wilson Beef Farms. I got a bunch of snack sticks and jerky and some other stuff like that. So I picked today to go shed hunting. Beautiful day, although it's really cold right now. It's going to get up to about 50. Right now it's 27. And unfortunately, where I ended up picking to go shed hunting is covered in snow from last night. It's going to melt off today, but not while I'm here. So I'm always game for just a walk in the woods. I prefer that. And if I come across a shed, that's great. But if I were tracking today, I'd be pretty excited. We've got a fresh snow, fresh feeding, really fresh tracks. So if today was a tracking day, then I would be pretty jacked. But there's always stuff to learn in the woods, and I'll check out what they have to show me today. So I probably won't show you a whole lot of shed hunting. After I'm done in this spot, I'm going to go to another one where there's not snow and actively look for some antlers. All right, follow along. Well, as you can see, I'm not likely to find much for sheds in this kind of conditions. I got a phone call just as I was starting to look from a buddy of mine, and he was inquiring about turkey hunting for Ohio season. That's not going to happen for me this year, but it was nice to get that call. I'll show you a little bit more when there's less snow. All right, well, that didn't work out so well, mainly because of the snow here. Great walk, found some deer beds. But the reason I wanted to come here is on this public property is adjacent to some pretty big fields, and there's a bunch of trails that come and go from that. And I was hoping just along those trails maybe find some antlers. So you can't really pick it up here, but I just go in this way, you can see it a little bit. But that's just one of the many trails that are going out to these fields here. I'm going to beat feet and go to another property that is not snowy. It could be a little snow, but not obscuring snow. Well, I figured I've been following this rub line out. Spot that bucks like to walk, so I figured I'd put myself in a little bit better position and check it out. There's an old beer bottle. Can't really tell what it is right here. I'll clean it up, just get the trash out of here anyway and see what it is, when it's from. Not that old. It's got a screw top and looks like something I remember within my lifetime. That right there is pretty cool. There's another one of these pretty heavy trails through here. They've actually used this today. Out here to the fields. of feeding that they've been doing here. See that there's a ground blind over here. Somebody's got it locked up. They're in a pretty good spot. I'm not ready to go down too low yet, because it's a hell of a hike back up. You can find a spot where a trail crosses something like this steep ditch. You might catch where one side or the other buck jumps across, its antlers are ready to come down, and impact causes it to fall off. Not a bad place to be walking. Especially seeing how much feeding is going on here. And it's good for me to know come this deer season where these deer are traveling. This would be a really ideal bow hunting spot. One of these trees over here where I have a shot maybe over here, and can see deer traveling in the distance. I'm liking this. Only problem is we got this ground blind over here. I don't want the competition, but if they're not here, it might be worth hanging up my saddle. Oh, well, we got a deer kill here, part of it. Here's the scapula, chewed up, and part of its front shoulder. I'm liking this spot because it's pretty close to where I can park, and getting in and out with the right wind would be easy. There was snow. Back during one of my tracking videos I did, I kicked a deer right off this point, saw it get up and run when I was doing some tracking. I don't think I got that on film. It was just before I bumped a group of, I don't know, 6 or 7 deer over here. And those ones I really screwed up because I knew they'd be there. I was a little bit impulsive. Well, some hunter lost his glove here. I'll put it up here in case it comes back. Some kind of mushroom here. Check out and see what this is later. Yeah, and I'm going to have to come back and check out this log or stump when I'm doing my mushroom hunting. See what it's cooking up for me. So the property that I'm walking on right now is a state property. There's about a little less than 700 acres. I'm very familiar with it. And there's a lot of places I just wouldn't go to search for deer antlers. When you're here, you need to look for routes of travel from and to bedding. And there's not many fields on state land. So I would say if you can get to the fields and do the edging of them, that would be great. But typically the fields are on the private property. So here, you want to go to where the deer are concentrated. So if you're doing some urban deer shed hunting, go to a spot where there's lots of deer and figure out where they're going to and coming from their bedding to feed and sleep. And in the bedding area specifically, that's where you'll find the antlers. Of course, they could be anywhere, but that is maximizing your potential, being efficient for time. I had my binoculars in my hands this morning before I left the house in the basement, and I really needed to have them because it saves me from walking over to certain spots thinking that I saw something that I didn't, or that isn't an antler. I try not to spend too much time walking on the trails that were near where other people might be. There's a lot of competition out here. Other guys that have spring fever, gals, families, kids, whatever, looking for something to do outside. And if they're like me, they might be out looking for antlers. So I tend to avoid the main trails. You know, I use them to get in and out, but then I try to get off them. Right now I'm on a pretty good deer trail. There's a rub line here, so I know the bucks like to hang out here. But the important thing is actually finding where the bucks are during the time that their antlers might be dropping. So that might be completely different than during the rut, during the summer, during the spring. We're talking the January through late March time. Where are those bucks hanging out? And it's going to be near bedding and somewhere that has close access to food. Browse, obviously. Fields, grass. This is partially why I wanted to come here. There's a cliff here, and I know that the bucks travel this because I've tracked them. And in a little bit here, I'm going to turn around and go back this way. There's a bunch of flats that are tough to get to. Those deer bed there. One of my tracking videos, I did that here. Ended up walking down to some deer that I knew were going to be there. I totally blew it. But what I'm hoping is I'll be able to see any antlers that dropped off through these little hemlocks along this funnel or down in these bedding areas. And the problem with these hemlocks here is it's holding the snow from last night. So not everything is white, but there's an awful lot. Ah! I'll be editing that out. Yeah, so most of this is along this cliff and this drop off as well. It's probably about 180 to 200 feet straight down. Then below there's some incredible hunting. Really nice creek, river, stream. It's a small river. Well, I kicked some deer off the bed here. See if I can see them in the distance. They would have seen me a long time before I could see them. pretty good odds that this will be the type of area, considering I know that they're bedding because I bumped them off it. But maybe I would find some shed antlers. This is what I'm looking for. Well, here's the second glove I've found. This is a pretty tough to get to spot. So I'll let them come and find it. Well, thank you very much for watching. Sorry I didn't find anything too interesting, but hang around. There'll be a few more videos that come out where I do find some shed antlers and other interesting things. Thanks a lot.